The speakers demanded a separate lane for MLAs in toll plazas. So the VVIP mindset that's at display, and for one and all to see. Karnataka speaker sparking this massive controversy. Let me go across to Deepak joining us with more details. Deepak, this kind of a VVIP mindset has come across as a big shocker. But tell us what the speaker has demanded. Why this kind of a VVIP privilege for politicians in the state?
The speaker here is suggesting that for ease of movement, the MLAs should have access to a separate lane. This was something that was spoken about by politicians in the past as well. But more importantly, of course, time and again, we keep stressing on how, the VIP mindset is something that should, the politician should get away with. On one hand, of course, the Chief Minister says that he does not want signalling to be stopped or, vehicular movement to be stopped while he moves. He says that we do not encourage, shawls or flowers, a bouquet should be to be given. Instead, books should be given. Trying to get away from all of these, VIP culture. But on the other, once again, an idea of, similar to this being mooted is something that the BJP has questioned at this point in time. Mr. Tejasvi Surya has tweeted about this, raising, a question: why is the, Congress trying to bring in this VIP elitist mindset? We'll of course be asking this question to the speaker himself to find out what exactly, he meant, and whether the government actually wants to go ahead with any sort of proposal like this.
In fact, it's important that we put this story in perspective. Deepak, let's not forget how in several parts of the country, at these very toll plazas, we've seen certain politicians, in fact, put out that kind of a VVIP mindset, set a wrong example, by thrashing officials at toll plaza. We've seen all of those episodes come to light. And amidst all this comes the shocking comment from the speaker.
Well, we should note here that, the Karnataka speaker, of course, he made this comment in the assembly is what we are understanding at this point in time. We are yet to listen to it in its entirety, but Tejasvi Surya has, of course, at this point in time said that this is something that the Congress, reeks of elitism and VIP mindset, something that the Prime Minister, something that the BJP is trying to do away with. As far as the issue of lanes is concerned, in the past as well, something like this has been mooted, where, MLAs have spoken about, an interest in having a separate lane, where maybe the ambulance lane to be used by the MLAs, giving them clearance and faster access through shuttle through the highways and toll gates. Whether this is something that the Congress will go ahead with is something, or whether they'll propose it officially, is also something that is noteworthy here.
Okay. But Deepak, what about the existent pattern that is followed? We will come back to you and track that very, very closely and put this entire statement on part of the speaker, Karnataka speaker, in perspective. But yes, we continue to stay on with more reactions coming in. Now, Karnataka Assembly Speaker, and that's the detailed input that Times Now has managed to access. The Assembly Speaker and Congress MLA UT Khader's suggestion of making special lanes for MLAs at toll plazas. Now, why this is being questioned is because it reeks of elitism, displays Congress's VIP culture mindset. While the Prime Minister has spoken of rules and personal actions, remember we've seen on several occasions the Prime Minister's convoys in fact made way personally for several ambulances as well on VIP routes. But this is what the Congress wants. Pranesh is also joining us to put this entire story in perspective.
This story underlines the disconnect that you have between the Aam Aadmi and the Janta and the Neta. And this is not Kritzwin, let's make it clear to our viewers, this is not about one party, this is not about BJP, Congress, JDS or any other party. This is about the Neta mindset. And what is that Neta mindset? These people were used to having a lal batti on top of their car, something which was junked altogether. But while the lal batti has gone, the mindset prevails, and this is a mockery of Aam Aadmi every day. And imagine in a state that has Bengaluru as its capital, imagine the traffic jams there. It triggers meme fest every week. And for the speaker to even come up with this proposal that, look, let's have separate lane for MLAs is a complete mockery of the Janta sentiment. And I'm saying it because, this is a problem, not particularly in Bengaluru or Karnataka, but throughout the country. People struggle on roads because of large traffic jams. all political parties and their representatives must take all efforts they can to ensure that the inconvenience to the Aam Aadmi is cut or minimized. But in this case, Mr. Speaker would have us, believe that, look, we are some different breed of citizens and we deserve a separate lane. This is just not on. We've launched a campaign here. Our call-in lines are open. We are taking your calls, viewers. Call us and slam this VVIP mindset.
Okay, once again, going across to political voices as well. Stay on with us, Deepak and Pranesh. We have S. Prakash of the BJP joining us on the phone line. Mr. S. Prakash, how do you look at this proposition on part of the Karnataka Assembly Speaker? He's proposed that a separate VIP lane should be, in fact, accommodated for at toll plazas for MLAs.
No, this was an unwarranted suggestion made by the Speaker. Why should a separate lane be created? In the fast-track era, every vehicle passes through within minutes. And MLAs are also common man. There should not be any special privilege to allow them a free passage at faster pace. Let them come in the queue if there is any queue. And there already exists an emergency lane where ambulances pass through, and many of the MLAs use that. I don't know under what backdrop Mr. UT Khader suggested this, but we are not in favor of it. The Prime Minister Narendra Modi has dismantled many VVIP privileges over the period of time, and this is one demand which should not be met at all.
Absolutely. Mr. S. Prakash, you rightly pointed out that the emergency lane, that's meant for ambulances, etc., to pass by is often used by VIPs, including MLAs. What was then the need, you think, in your understanding of, the Mr. Speaker putting out this kind of a request?
No, I'm not aware of why he suggested it. Sitting on the chair, they believe that pleasing the MLAs by suggesting all these unwanted measures would win over them. But system already exists. Nobody needs to stand anywhere in the queue. Fast-tag have given faster movement to pass through the toll. And this,
no, but isn't that in itself also wrong, Mr. S. Prakash? What would you say? Using the emergency lane, as an MLA, just because you're a VIP in the state, is that right in your view?
No, if they have some emergency work, they will pass through them not a big time. Anyone with have an emergency work, they also pass through, and everybody has to use the fast track. Nobody is going free, passing freely. So let us not throw it out of proportion. His suggestion is not acceptable. It is unwarranted, and moreover, it is the NH National Highway has to implement it, which I don't think will yield to it.
Okay, why this kind of a special treatment that should be given out to VIPs? That's why we've opened our call-in lines as well. So our viewers have started dialing in. We have Prashant calling us from Port Blair. Good afternoon, Prashant.
Good afternoon.
Yes, go ahead. Make your point.
Voting for Congress is a big mistake, that I could say. And we can expect more changes in Karnataka. I am from Bangalore, but now settled in Port Blair. But this is going to be the tradition now. It's always been the tradition. Now it's going to be the same tradition.
Okay. Thank you for that, Mr. Prashant. We also have Mr. Brijesh Kallappa from the app. But before I come to you, sir, we also have Vinod calling us from Bengaluru. Good afternoon, Vinod.
Good afternoon, ma'am. The point of view given by the speaker is totally outrageous and shocking. The Bangalore, in many places, it takes one hour just to cover 10 kilometers. And on top of it, if he says that there should be a separate lane, I don't know where are the space to make separate lane. It's totally shocking. This party is just known for entitlement, and this is what they are practicing it now.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you for that, Vinod. I'm sure your voice is being heard by one and all. Mr. Kallappa, what do you make of this? You heard it from the common man. People in Bengaluru, you heard Mr. Vinod there, say it in as many words, and we've heard endless stories about, endless traffic in, for example, Bengaluru, and yet you have Mr. Speaker come out and make this demand, a separate lane for MLAs?
No, I think as far as the Aam Aadmi Party is concerned, we don't have a presence in the assembly. But as far as the Aam Aadmi Party is concerned, we are very clear that we don't want a special treatment for MLAs. Ultimately, who is an MLA? An MLA is one of us who is chosen to represent the rest of us. So why should he have any special privileges? There is no reason for a person who is one among us to have special privileges. As it is, the political establishment has made sure that only the rich and the highly entitled only enter into assembly, because it's somebody's son or somebody's daughter or the very very rich who can enter the assembly. I think we have come as the Aam Aadmi Party as a bulwark against this, and we want to stop this. We want to stop the entry of the high and mighty into the assembly.
Okay.
And further I think
Mr.
it's very...
Kalappa, one is to use the emergency lane in case of an emergency, and that can happen with an MLA in the state of Karnataka as well or elsewhere in the country. Second is to come out and demand that a separate lane must be created or must be accommodated for MLAs in the state. That's what's bizarre at this point in time. Thank you for joining us here on Times Now. We also have Tanveer Ahmed, political analyst, with us. Mr. Ahmed, what do you make of this demand?
So firstly, we need to really understand, because UT Khader is not an unsensible man, and he's absolutely a sensible man. Why is he really making this statement? Is there a story behind it? I mean, rather than saying that it is an entitlement, we need to really understand they are the people who are sitting in a very important position. They are legislating. They are bringing laws, rules, regulation. If at all there is certain privileges which should be given,
but
if it is legitimate,
Mr. Ahmed, let me finish. When the VIPs in any part of the country use the emergency lane using their MLA or MP tag, they're often allowed to pass by. Then why do they need a separate lane?
We need to really ask Mr. UT Khader to really substantiate his statement, what he is making. If it all makes sense, and let us really deliberate, discuss, rather than, coming here and one of your callers saying that electing Congress was totally a mistake. I mean, these are all bizarre statements.
Well,
Karnataka
that's for Mr. Khader to come out and explain, and for the Congress party as well, perhaps, because we've not heard so far of this kind of a demand come in, at least from the previous regime, and that's why they're all going to jump at the Congress and raise all of those questions. Thank you for that, Mr. Ahmed. Let's quickly go back to our viewers who continue to dial in this afternoon. Gopal calling us from Hyderabad. Good afternoon, sir.
Yeah, good afternoon. I have been seeing Times Now since quite a long time. I really appreciate this program. So regarding my view on this, like the VIP lane, I feel it's completely unnecessary. In fact, they should provide at least a lane for people going to hospitals or in an emergency. This is completely unnecessary.
Okay, completely unnecessary. In fact, if at all any sort of an accommodation must be laid out for those who are actually in need for this kind of a special treatment given an emergency situation. We also have Ram Chandran calling us from Bengaluru. Good afternoon, sir.
Yeah, see, when we are discussing, when we are in the 75th year of our independence, when we are celebrating, it is really very, very sad that somebody like a speaker is trying to say that some higher level people are there, like MLAs and MPs, they need a better, different lane than the common folk. Actually, the statement which he has made is not logical. I don't think so there is any sound reason behind as what Mr. Tanveer or somebody said. In fact, this statement is very bizarre, and I have to also tell, the color of Congress is slowly coming out. They have not satisfied the 5 guarantees, and this is now slowly coming up that they are not going to follow whatever they said. That's all.
Right. Be it the Congress, be it the BJP, any other party, sir, it's most condemnable that today politicians are, making these kind of demands and seeing themselves above the common citizen who's beating that kind of traffic on a daily basis. We continue to open our call-in lines, viewers, so feel free to call in and share your views. We'll also go across to more political voices. I believe Deepak also going to ensure that equality prevails, that anybody who is finding themselves in an emergency situation is perhaps given that option, and not someone who's commuting on a daily basis just because he's enjoying a MLA tag perhaps must be given a separate lane to pass by toll plazas. That's the kind of demand coming in from the Karnataka Assembly Speaker. We continue to track more voices on this big story. We'll return in no time, heading into a very quick break for now.